right to the edge of the trellis. Right to the edge. Stop for a picture. Good job, guys. Nice job. Thanks, Jen. Good job. Come right to the edge of the trellis. Right there. You whip. Stop. Got it. Thank you. Right to the edge of the trellis. Right there. Perfect. Right there. Very good. And that trellis just a little bit right there. There for me, perfect. You like it? You like it? Nice. Take the right through, right there. Perfect. Thank you. There, smiles. Here we go. Looking right after you. Thank you. Right to the edge of the trellis. Perfect. Don't move. Thank you. Right there. Okay, the smile. Thank you, smile. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Perfect.
Good morning. Thank you to Ms. Kowalski and Mr. Molish for leading us in. Let's give them a round of applause, please. On behalf of Sanford's Board of Trustees and faculty, I am honored to welcome you to Sanford's 85th commencement ceremony, a Sanford tradition every year since 1937. Before we begin, I want to thank all of you for your patience and flexibility and understanding as we've had to move our ceremony from yesterday to today. The 2021 school year obviously is ending the way it started, asking much of us. So we do appreciate that, and we are going to give the class of 2021 the send-off it so richly deserves today here in our amphitheater in Quad. Joining me on stage this morning are Mr. Ted Dwyer, President of the Sanford Board of Trustees. The head of our upper school, Mrs. Abby Smith. And Miss Anna Littlefield, co-chair of our history department and upper school history teacher, and she has been selected to deliver the commencement address by our graduates. Our tradition at Sanford is to have our faculty from all three divisions participate in the processional at commencement. We do this to acknowledge the important role each member of the faculty has played in the development and the nurturing of the graduating class. Our teachers were led in by our most veteran faculty and staff. As you all know, the dedication of Sanford teachers and coaches define the Sanford experience each and every day. Sanford is a special place because of these folks. I ask that all Sanford faculty and staff please stand so that we can acknowledge the hard work that you've given us in 2021 and what you've provided for these graduating seniors throughout all of their years at Sanford. Please stand. I'd also like to thank all of the parents and extended family of our graduating class who have joined us in this Sanford journey for these past many years. Whether you've been here for 3 years, 14 years, or in some cases many more than that across multiple students, we thank you for choosing Sanford for your family and for giving us the privilege of working with your children during this pivotal time of their lives. I'd also like to take a moment of silence for the parents and grandparents and family members of our senior class who are no longer with us. I'd also like to remember 2 of our Sanford colleagues who passed away earlier this school year, Jennifer McKay and Krista Bernanke. While all these people are no longer with us, their spirits live on in our hearts. Thank you. One of the great Sanford traditions is the involvement of graduating seniors in our year-end ceremonial events. Seniors audition their speeches and musical performances in the spring for the honor to represent their class at one of the closing programs. This Wednesday, on a very hot and humid class day, it was cooking that day if you were here, we heard terrific speeches from Javon Jazz Spencer and Wyatt Sater Burniford. Can we give Jazz and Wyatt a big round of applause, please? Today we will hear individual speeches from 3 seniors and 2 musical pieces performed by 5 other seniors and 1 junior. Today at commencement, the class of 2021 will once again, and for one last time, show us why Sanford is the school where no talent lies latent. I now invite President of the class and also President of the Honor Council, which is a first in my time. We've never had a 2-time president. We invite Spencer Sobranek to come forward for our first student speaker address. Spencer? Good luck.
Over the years, I've addressed our class quite often. I realize this is my last time, and it comes with a sea of emotions. Instead of me standing on a chair and yelling for everyone's attention in a class meeting, I now politely ask you all to listen to me for one last time. While going through the audition process weeks ago, I wrote my speech. When I reread my speech this week, the events and emotions of these past few months made me feel like something was missing. 2 days ago at class day, when I was sitting on this very stage, I realized what was missing. The class day ceremony was the first time it hit me that I was leaving the place where I spent 14 years of my life. Sanford has been my entire life, and that is why I think my heart did not accept that I was leaving until the very last moment. So with this new realization and all the feelings that followed, I rewrote my speech. The class of 2021 is a family, where no one will mispronounce or misspell my last name, like everywhere else. We are a family, even only if a few of us are connected by blood. Families don't always express how much they mean to each other, so today I tell my Sanford family, students, teachers, and staff, that I'm grateful for you. Also, if I want to be allowed home tonight, I guess I should probably thank the family that I was trapped with during the pandemic. Over the past 14 years, I've watched this Sanford family take shape to what has surrounded me on this stage. Our Sanford journeys began at different times. Some of us go all the way back to this classic Sanford sailor hat. For those of us who are lifers, this sailor cap and what it represents is a fond memory. The sailor's cap was a symbol of us sailing into our Sanford experience. Some of us jumped on board later in lower school, some in middle school, and some for high school. It didn't matter when you jumped on board the SS Sanford. It just mattered that we were on the ship together. Today we are docking at our final destination. Usually the seas were calm and fun. We took time to develop our passions and discover new ones. We applauded individual and collective victories in the classroom, on stage, on the field, and on the court. However, the junior graduation wasn't always smooth sailing. Heck, our ship was torpedoed by a pandemic. We reinforced one another through the extreme challenges of the pandemic, just like we'd always done for regular life challenges. This family is kind, and kindness can change the course of a life. For me, the support of this community made a critical difference, and that is not just a platitude for a graduation speech. I have a speech impediment that was much worse when I was younger. It is a subject that I do not talk about very often. When I would play sports outside of Sanford, I would be teased occasionally about my speech impediment. That was outside of Sanford. Here, I was never made fun of. I wonder if I would have had the confidence to run for class president and volunteer to speak today if I attended another school with students who ridiculed me. Or if I had lower school teachers who didn't have the same patience and give me constant encouragement. In most schools, it's considered uncool to talk about emotions or problems, but we have shared them. Tears flowed freely at times. We have cried with each other over all things from silly to serious, from being eliminated in Senior Assassin, to losing the playoffs, to losing beloved people and pets, and to fearing for our country. Sophomore year, after we lost in the lacrosse playoffs, my mom took a photo of me and some buddies. I despised taking that photo. My mom loved that photo at the time. For a long time, it reminded me of coming so close, but losing. I can't believe I'm saying this, but shocker, my mom was right. When I look back on that photo, I see my friends, no, my brothers, cheering me on during a battle and still by my side after a stinging loss. Our young team used that experience to come back better than ever after losing a year to COVID. This undefeated regular season was a hell of a ride with triumphs never achieved by any Sanford lacrosse team. The ride was made better because we created a brotherhood over the years with our families and friends cheering us on. Unfortunately, brotherhood does not exist everywhere. This past year, we saw a country not defined by the mutual respect and love we have here. We are sober to know that we have hard work ahead of us to fix what is broken. Because of how we connected together here at Sanford, we are inspired to make impactful changes wherever we go. Sanford encouraged our uniqueness. I encourage all you in the next chapter of your lives, never pretend to be something you aren't. One of the most powerful realizations you can have is to be comfortable with yourself. Be humble and be proud of who you are, but never think you are ordinary because it will stop you from being extraordinary. Imagine outrageously awesome possibilities for your life, and you know what? Go out and get them. Because I know each and every one of you can conquer any challenge that comes your way. We will physically separate after today for colleges throughout the country and for exciting adventures, but we will always be tied to each other. If you're ever down on yourself, your classmates are only one text away. Because of the pandemic, we were already physically separated, and we endured as a community. We will always be Sanford strong. Many high school graduates feel scared about entering a new and unknown world. I don't feel that from this group. We feel prepared academically and socially. We have seen former Sanford students succeed in their colleges because of the strong foundation that's built here. That's Sanford reached its final destination. We've been on this ship for 4 years and experienced countless good times and even a few bad. Sometimes it felt like we were on the Titanic, holding on for dear life, just trying to survive the day. Other times, it felt like a cruise ship, when we laughed and made memories through smooth seas. Through it all, we did it together. Today, we board our next ship to an even bigger ocean, but we'll never forget our adventures together. Class of 2021, bon voyage.
Spencer mentioned that he revised his speech this week, and having the pleasure to watch the auditions, it's really neat to see that process. He and I were talking about that at the senior parent dinner this week, and just like a good piece of writing, the speeches really take form and take shape. So I liked your second speech. Your first speech was good, but that was excellent. Nice job. Our first musical selection will be performed by Leah Doherty and Emma Kovacs. Thank you, Leah and Emma. Emma, wonderful recovery. Albert and Wyatt, thank you for the assist. Let's give all 4 of those students a round of applause. It is my pleasure to call Emma Colby to the podium for our second student address. Emma?
Good morning. As high school seniors, there are 3 questions we are bombarded with often. Where are you going to college? What do you want to major in? And what do you want to be when you grow up? For years, these questions really haunted me. I never thought I was answering them right, or that I was even qualified to. Where do I want to go? I want to go to a city school. Do I even know enough about colleges to make that decision? What will my major be? I want to major in English. No, political science. No, I want to major in journalism. What do I want to be when I grow up? I want to be a lawyer. No, maybe a journalist. For whatever reason, I always answer the 3rd question with a job. But that doesn't really make sense. The question isn't actually, what do you want your job to be? Or what do you want to do when you grow up? It's what do you want to be? So here's my answer. When I grow up, I want to be my mom's unshakable compassion. Sorry, in the great words of Miss McCoy, I'm a crier, y'all. This is, I want to be my dad's unfaltering resilience. I want to be Mrs. Berg-Parsha's steady grace. I want to be Mr. Fritz's enthusiasm. I want to be able to carry myself with Miss Littlefield's warmth. I want to be my grandparents' hard work ethic. I want to be able to hold the same determination Miss McCoy has to make us succeed, even when we don't want to. I want to keep the same cool demeanor Mrs. Tate does every time our advisory just won't do or even start the group activity. I want to be Mrs. Wolanski's patience, especially her patience with me and my constant error in still calling her Miss Winter. Mrs. Wolanski, remember when I said I would get it right by graduation? It finally happened. I want to be Miss Williams' panoramic knowledge. I want to be the full embodiment of our lower school's inclusivity. I want to be our middle school's care. I want to be Mrs. Smith's understanding. And really, I want to be my class's passion. The devotion I've seen my classmates put into everything they do, whether it be gathering school supplies to send to schools in Haiti, hiking through the Appalachian Trail, leading a robotics team, or sending Good News Friday messages every week to remind classmates of the positive things going on in the world, or winning Player of the Year for their favorite sport. I've spent my time in high school striving to meet the caliber that I've felt around me, and to that, I owe any of my successes to my peers. But more than anything, I want to be the person that all of my role models here have told me I can be since the 4th grade. I'm not one for cliches. I usually roll my eyes when I hear them or get on my high horse that I come up with something better to say. It doesn't matter who you are, just what you are. We've all heard the phrase. I said it wrong. It doesn't matter what you are, just who you are. Sorry. But some things become cliches for a reason. This one I can get behind. So think about it. Who are your role models? What do you admire and what do you want to be? Next year, we're not going to be high school seniors anymore. Actually, in like 30 minutes. We're going to be college students. And hopefully, we're finally prepared to answer those 3 questions. Where do you go to college? What is your major? And what do you want to be when you grow up? For me, I'm more confident in my answer than I've ever been before. I go to Boston College. I am a communications major. And when I grow up, I want to be a living collage. Snippets of everything I admire most in myself, my role models, my family, and my peers. To my classmates, I now pose these questions to you. But most importantly, I ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. Well done. Another round of applause for Emma Colby. Our second musical selection will be performed by a talented quartet of Sanford seniors. Please welcome to the stage Lily Doherty, Mackenzie Cuff, Nanya Jane, and Ellie Zimmer. If that one doesn't get you a little choked up on graduation day, I don't know what will. Thank you, ladies. That was beautiful. I'd now like to invite our final student speaker to the podium, Jordan Nashid.
Good morning. I'm honored to be talking to you all today. Initially, I had no idea what I was going to talk about. I was actually sitting on my bed while drafting this, and it was then that I saw this picture of a mountain on my bedroom wall. It's a picture I found on Costco's website about 6 years ago, and I picked it simply because I thought the blue sky went really well with my blue comforter. Which it did, by the way. When it came in the mail, I remember eagerly unwrapping the packaging and gingerly threading the metal wire over the thumbtack on my wall, where it's hung ever since. Throughout high school, the picture of the mountain has been the first thing I see when I wake up and the last thing I see before I go to sleep. After draining soccer practices, long days at school, and late nights studying, the picture has always been there. But of course, over time, it became much more than just a picture. I began to see myself beneath that shiny laminated surface, an ant on the face of an insurmountable white peak. I wanted so badly to reach the top. So I fixed my gaze on that distant summit and climbed, believing like most, that if I climbed hard enough, I would one day get there. The thing about the summit is that it's a lie, a trick. I only realized this about halfway through this past year. Many of the goals I'd been striving for on the field or in the classroom I'd missed, and the few I did achieve were false summits, goals that simply led to new, more ambitious ones. I felt no closer to the top of that mountain than when I'd first laid eyes on the baby blue stock image on Costco's outdated website. I will never reach the top of that mountain, and neither will you, or anyone for that matter. And that's okay. The summit of that mountain is untouchable. For a while, this bothered me. What's the point of climbing this stupid mountain if no one will ever even get close to the top, let alone reach it? Why should anyone waste their time, their high school career, their life, straining towards something they cannot have? That's when I realized it was time to take my eyes off the summit. The mountain is deceptive. That summit never seems to get any closer, and yet, when you stop and look behind you, you realize how far you've come. No matter how distant that summit feels, I promise that every single one of you has traveled farther on this mountain than you know. The base camp we arrived at on September 6th, 2017 is nothing but a speck in the distance. I mean, seriously, in 2017, I was a scared, clean-shaven freshman. Chappie was like 4 feet tall. Ivy Beats was just getting started, and the Eagles looked like they might actually be good. A lot has changed since then. But in more ways than just physical appearances or achievements, you are not the climber who first embarked on this journey. You've been tested by wind, snow, and ice, slipped and fallen countless times, and have maybe even been chased by a Yeti or two. And no, not the one named Eric Peoples. But you're still here. And if you take a moment to look around you, you'll see all of the other climbers. The climbers who have lent you that much needed hand. The climbers who remind you of the importance of laughter, even in the bitter cold. The climbers who pushed you to dig in with that ice pick just a little bit harder. And even the climbers you barely knew. In many ways, it is they who shaped the past 4 years of your journey. Don't take their company for granted. The mountain is the struggle, the climb I and everyone here sets out upon each day. Every time you drag yourself out of bed to get ready for school or work, lace up for that practice you would have been all right getting canceled, or stay up until 1 a.m. cursing Isaac Newton for inventing calculus, you're climbing, whether you know it or not. Enjoy it. Enjoy the climb. Learn to love the mountain and all of its coldness, harshness, and occasional avalanches. Look ahead, look behind, but remember to look down, too. That's right, down, at your feet. Today, they stand on a piece of mountain that exists right now, and only now. Tomorrow, another new piece of mountain. And up you'll climb, leaving a trail of footprints in your wake. The minimalist dance floor at prom, Malcolm's amazing array of nicknames for everyone, and the uncomfortable yet somehow nostalgic morning meetings in the Commons. These are only held in the icy tread marks we now leave behind us. The thing is, you'll never really be able to stand in your own footprints again. You might be able to peer back through the haze of snow and see them, remember them, but ultimately they too will be reclaimed by the mountain. And if you look ahead, it's impossible to say where your footprints will lead you on this summitless slope. So today, and only today, of all the many days you will spend on this mountain, you have the privilege of standing in your own footprints. Remember that as you continue your climb. Look ahead, look behind, look around, but don't forget to look down. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. Wise words, good advice. Each year, the graduating class selects one faculty or staff member to deliver the commencement address. This year, the students honored Anna Littlefield, upper school history teacher and co-chair of the History and Social Studies Department, by asking her to address the class. She is a teacher, coach, a leader among her peers, and in 3 short years, Little has become an integral part of our Sanford team. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Anna Littlefield.
Parents and guardians, friends and colleagues, and most importantly, the class of 2021. I first must say thank you. When I was asked to give this speech, it was met with a feeling of honor and despair. I am terrified of public speaking, which seems odd coming from a teacher, but it's true. It's a very different experience talking to you all today than being in my classroom. And unfortunately, I cannot bring you all into Stephen May, room 108. I am deeply moved to be able to speak to all of you, not just because of this historic year, but because of this class. Traditional commencement speeches are often given by an adult to share a lesson with the students. Today, I've decided to flip that. I want to talk to you about the lesson that the class of 2021 has taught me about being part of a community, about being leaders, staying together, and showing love and gratitude. Part of the reason I love teaching history is sharing stories of the ordinary and the extraordinary. Stories are central to everything I do as an educator. You will hear a few stories today, some about history, and some about the class of 2021. To my seniors, I have loved getting to know your individual stories, the multi-layers and perspectives that make up this exceptional class. And as I got to know you, to see you interact with each other, with your community, with your passions, it became clear I wasn't the only one in the classroom who was teaching. You were teaching me too. For many of you, our first meeting happened in my classroom. It was your sophomore year, your first AP class, and my introduction to this community. The first day was met with nerves, trepidation, and a world map quiz that resulted in a few tears when some of you realized there wasn't a word bank. Over the course of the year, you grew stronger as history students. You learned to pronounce tricky words like Chihuahua. You learned to locate the Panama Canal in Panama. And you learned the art of passing a paper from one desk to the next. Come to think of it, I'm not sure you ever did master that skill. You learned how to write thesis statements and analyze primary sources. It was in those early moments you taught me about being part of the Sanford community. Communities are made up of all types of leaders. You taught me a lot about leadership, but the biggest example happened this year. In times of uncertainty, leaders often emerge by committing to something larger than themselves, to their community. They lead by being truly present. I witnessed this with the field hockey team as you stayed together during an unknown fall season. I saw it in our boys basketball team when you were faced with setbacks. You seniors didn't give up, but rather you remained committed to your team and to your school, and you led from both the bench and the court to win the state championship. I think of our stream team. These students knew our community could not gather in person to watch our sports games, and despite not knowing how to organize a high-level streaming service, you agreed to lead the club anyways. The result is that you brought the Warriors into our homes, allowing us to celebrate our athletes together while apart. I think of our performers, who have never put together a show virtually, but you worked with your crew to deliver stellar performances, like the one we saw in the musical review. This is what communities do. They stay together. One of Dr. King's greatest strengths was staying with his community despite uncertainty. In the early days of the civil rights movement, King and leaders of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference arrived in Birmingham, following what some considered to be a failure in Georgia. Birmingham was home to Public Safety Commissioner Bull Connor, whose tactics involved using police dogs and nightsticks to break up demonstrations. Over the next few days, Connor's police force arrested hundreds of protesters, and the city eventually obtained a state court injunction to end the demonstrations. At this point, Dr. King had to decide, obey the injunction and leave, or defy it, stay, and risk going to jail. That evening, Andrew Young, the executive of SCLC, recalls the critical moment for Dr. King and the movement. He says, "And King sat there in room 30 in the Gaston Motel, and he didn't say anything. And then finally, he got up, he went into the bedroom, and he came back with his blue jeans on and his jacket and said, 'Look, I don't know what to do. I just know that something has got to change in Birmingham. And I don't know whether I can raise money to get people out of jail, but I do know that I can go into jail with them.' And not knowing how it was going to work out, he walked out of that room and led his demonstration and went to jail. This was, for Young, the beginning of King's true leadership. Like many of us lately, we don't know what to do, but we do know that we need to stay together as a community. King's love for his community gave him strength, in a similar way to how the class of 2021 gave me strength through love this year. The class of 2021 is full of love for things that they do. Over the past 3 years, I watched you develop your interests in the things that you love. Reading books and coding, playing music and mixing music, love for farming, for spending time outdoors, singing, on some occasions in beautiful harmony, and on other occasions, joyously discordant while riding the bus to get pumped up for an away game. Baking cupcakes and starting a club dedicated to learning the art of baking. You showed your love for this community by helping out with extended day program, creating a memorable yearbook, giving tours to prospective students, and sharing good news with the community every Friday. You showed your love for the larger community by fundraising for causes important to you and starting a book club to discuss issues around social justice. But the most profound way you showed your love is the kindness that you had for each other. In a challenging year, you had one another's back. I saw this in big ways, like at the boys lacrosse semifinal game, where after the other team scored, you seniors rallied your team to stay in the game. I saw this in little ways, when a student would give me a heads up that their friend was having a tough day. Your support, love, and kindness reminds me of this anecdote. A man is walking one day and falls into a hole, and the walls are steep and he can't get out. First, a doctor walks by. The man asks for help, and the doctor writes out a prescription and throws it down in the hole. Then a minister walks by. He writes out a prayer and throws it down in the hole. Then a friend walks by, and the man shouts out, "Hey bud, it's me. Can you help me out?" And his friend jumps down in the hole, and the man freaks out. "What'd you do that for? Now we're both stuck." And the guy says, "Yeah, I know, but I've been down here before, and I know a way out." Sometimes showing your love is just being with someone. The way that King sat in jail with his followers, the way that you all sat with each other this year. When I was diagnosed with breast cancer 7 years ago, my parents learned this kind of love as well. They couldn't fix my problem, but they could be with me. I have seen you all be there for one another this year. Sometimes in life there are big holes, like cancer or a pandemic. Sometimes there are little ones, like a bad grade or a tough loss. You all demonstrated this kind of love and support, not only to each other, but also to me. You showed me a way out of the darkness. You showed me light. It often involved laughter. Whether we joked about technology failing or funny things someone said in class, you brought me joy. You helped me to realize that dark times don't last forever. As Amanda Gorman said, there is always light if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. You were that light for me. You showed me a way out of the hole. And for that, I am filled with gratitude. One day this spring, during the height of AP exams and capstones, my students were feeling bogged down by the stress. In that moment, I realized how incredibly grateful I am to have had even these stressful moments with you. In her speech on Blue Gold Day, Miss Mossberg talked about what she will miss the most about Sanford after teaching here for 32 years. She said she will miss the students saying, "Hi, Miss Mossberg," in the hallways, the laughs with colleagues, or the thank yous from her student on the way out of the classroom. It is those seemingly mundane things that bring love and meaning to a moment, a person, or a community. Small things like seeing helicopter leaves falling from a tree, French fries from the well, sunshine on game day, losing to your teachers at kickball, and laughter in the classroom. We should always remember to be grateful for the little moments. This year has made us realize that those moments mean more and that the people in our lives mean more. But sometimes we forget to truly acknowledge those we are thankful for, those who have helped us. You have helped me in more ways, much more than I can say today. Helpfulness and thankfulness will always remind me of Mr. Rogers. When delivering a commencement address to Dartmouth College in 2002, Mr. Rogers asked his students to complete this exercise. I'll ask you all to do the same today. And of course, the audience, you are welcome to join. I want you to close your eyes. Come on. I want you to take 1 minute. You can start now. And I want you to think about those who have helped you become who you are today. Some of them may be here right now. Some may be far away. Some may even be in heaven. But wherever they are, they have loved you, encouraged you, and wanted the best in life for you. And I want you to send that energy to them and thank them for their help. You can open your eyes. If you have the opportunity later today, I hope you are able to tell this person how much they mean to you, how much they've helped you. I thought of all of you. You have helped me. You showed me what it means to be part of a community and to be part of Sanford. It's hard to imagine this place without you because I only know it with you. But I do know that your lessons will live on with me forever. Thank you to the class of 2021 for the lessons you've taught me and for the wisdom you've shared. Goodbye and good luck.
Just imagine how great Anna's speeches will become when she's comfortable giving public speeches. That was outstanding. I just saw a friend over here. I didn't know you were here, Jackie. Jackie Pitts, class in 1955, and faculty emeritus. Jackie started teaching here in 1959, and one of the tough parts about COVID, she would come frequently and visit with us and have lunch. So we're looking forward to having you back on campus soon. And we are bringing lunch back, by the way. So you guys can come back for lunch too. Before we present the Senior Commencement Awards, I'd like to recognize some very special Sanford teachers. On Thursday, we held our annual end-of-the-year faculty and staff meeting where I had the opportunity to recap the year and thank all of the people who deliver our Sanford experience each day. We recognize milestone years of service, and we also have a chance to say goodbye to the individuals who are retiring and departing. We also named the 2020-21 Sanford Endowed Faculty Award winners that day. These winners are nominated by their peers and are recognized for their outstanding commitment to students and to our school. The Paul Donovan Award, which recognizes an ongoing commitment to professional growth, was presented to our school nurse, Jen Conway. The Sue and Andre Dagenet Award for Leadership was presented to our speaker of today, Anna Littlefield. And the Lloyd Johns Award for Excellence in Teaching was presented to two teachers this year, middle school science teacher Beth Whipple and lower school pre-K teacher Beth Kaczynski. Our final award winner could not be at the gathering Thursday because he had family obligations. But I knew for certain that he would be here today. So I arranged to do a little special presentation at our ceremony. Before the presentation, I'd like to invite the namesake for this award to join me at the podium. Stan Waterman, please come down. The Stan Waterman Award for Coaching Excellence was created in 2016 in recognition of Stan's tremendous tenure and success at Sanford. Stan and I have hugged and shook hands more times in the last 3 weeks than we have in 10 years. And cried too. We've never cried before. We've been crying a lot. That same year, Sanford named the floor in what is now known as the Struthers Family Sports Center, the Stan Waterman Court. Since that time, Stan went on to win over 70 more games and 2 more state titles, bringing him to a total of 8 state titles won at Sanford School. Last week, many of you know Delaware State University announced that Stan will be the next head coach of their men's basketball program. I reluctantly applaud that. After 28 years, it's time for us to say goodbye and thank you to Stan Waterman. And as we do, please join me in showing our appreciation for not only a tremendous coach, but a tremendous school leader and an even better person who's going to be a real loss for our school. Stan Waterman. It's fitting that Stan is here to help me present the Coaches Award this year because this year's recipient, in my opinion, is cut from a similar cloth. Our 2021 awardee is also very dedicated and passionate to his craft of coaching. He's an expert on the X's and O's of the game, but more importantly, he's a mentor and motivator to the young men he coaches. While he isn't a full-time teacher here, he does have an education background. And I believe that training comes through when he teaches his team how to play the game the right way. While he hasn't been at Sanford for as long as Stan, and not many people can make it to the 28-year mark, in 5 seasons, it would have been 6, but COVID took 2020 from us, he has led the Sanford lacrosse team to a 50-27 win-loss record. The 5 seasons before he arrived, we had a losing record of 36 wins and 39 losses. This year, as Spencer said, our team went undefeated in the regular season. And we reached the state semifinal game that we lost by one heartbreaking goal to state powerhouse Cape Henlopen. And this year, for the second time, he was named Delaware Lacrosse Coach of the Year. I remember when we hired this awardee for the head coaching role, and he told me at the time his plans were to take Warrior Lacrosse to new heights. He wanted to compete with the state's most powerful programs, and he's done that. I'm honored to present the 2021 Stan Waterman Award of Excellence in Coaching to Tim Lucky. Would you want to?
Sure do. Wouldn't be right if I didn't say something. Good morning, class of 2021, family and friends. I'm extremely honored to be receiving such an important award, the Coaching Excellence Award, named after Stan Waterman. I'm grateful for the recognition for the success of the team. Winning this Coaching Excellence Award would not have been possible without my staff, Ensign Simmons, Eve Humphreys, Greg Taylor, and Dan Bachtel, and of course the 26 young athletes ready to compete each day. I sincerely thank all of you for your timeless commitment to each other, and more importantly to the greater good of the team. I'd like to also thank Joan Samaniski for all her hard work and everything she does behind the scenes to support all the athletics at Sanford. Thanks, Joan. And to the class of 21, to the best of all you, be extraordinary. Good luck. Thank you.
Each year, Sanford designates a senior student as top scholar. The Scholastic Award is given in honor of the class of 1939, and it recognizes an outstanding student who has excelled academically each year in the upper school, while pursuing a challenging and well-rounded program of study. Before I do that, I forgot to have Abby Smith go be ready to present the awards. Abby Smith. There's a lot of details to remember on the ceremony. The top scholar should demonstrate an openness to all forms of learning and an investment in Sanford's whole educational experience. This year, it is my honor to present the 2021 Scholastic Award to Reed Farmer. Well done, Reed. Each year, the upper school faculty vote on annual senior awards. The upper school teachers discuss and debate the merits of our seniors, trying to decide who represents the best of the class of 2021. Our teachers take the charge of naming these awardees very seriously. The 6 seniors we will honor today with special recognition have distinguished themselves as scholars, members of the Sanford community, and Sanford student leaders. The Alumni Award is presented annually to the student whose participation in extracurricular activities has been most dedicated. This senior is the consummate triple threat student, an excellent scholar, a devoted performing artist, and a talented athlete. She's well-rounded, well-liked, and well-positioned for success as she moves on from a stellar Sanford career. She is most importantly, though, an example of how people should lead by example. She's a 3-sport athlete, SRTC member in both the fall plays and spring musicals. She's a concert band and jazz band member, and a member of the concert choir and the vocal ensemble. If there was a Sanford activity happening over these last 4 years, you'd be certain to find her there. I'm pleased to present the 2021 Alumni Award to Lily Doherty. You'll notice Ms. Smith is doing fist bumps. Among the many things we didn't know what to do in COVID graduation year, we settled on fist bumps. Never thought that would be a thing at graduation, but here we are. The Thomas McCarthy Award for Citizenship is presented each year at commencement in memory of Thomas McCarthy, class of 1940. It is awarded to the student who has always been a responsible and contributing citizen in every aspect of campus life. This awardee is described as a high-flying academic and artistic risk-taker who answers the hard questions during class discussions. She is the classmate who embraces the weekly optional fluency challenge in French class, and the self-advocate who utilizes office hours in just about every class to make sure she is not only grasping, but mastering challenging topics. She's all of this and more. Teachers describe her as poised, unflappable, gracious, a competitor that everyone wants on their team. Without fanfare and regularly eschewing the spotlight, she has managed to make an impact in so many parts of Sanford School life. She's an integral member of SRTC, an active and supportive student athlete. She's engaged deeply with student activities and as a student ambassador. Coming from a family full of Sanford leaders, this student has carved out her own niche of Sanford leadership that was unique and distinctive. She's to be commended for living the Sanford ethos and embracing all parts of our community. It is my pleasure to present the 2021 Thomas McCarthy Award for Citizenship to Ellie Zimmer. The Headmaster Award is given on an occasional basis, as deemed appropriate by the faculty and the head of school, to honor a member or members of the graduating class whose achievement and presence have been so exemplary that special recognition is in order. This year, the faculty recommended that we award the Headmaster Award to 2 deserving seniors. This was an easy recommendation for me to accept, because I usually listen to Sanford teachers, and we have watched these 2 students flourish and blossom since their days in Sanford's lower school. Both are active in the Sanford community through service learning projects, athletics, and school organizations. And most impressively, these 2 students have known the hardships that life can throw a person without allowing those challenges to stop them or even slow them down. Both are academically driven and highly successful students. Mr. Zimmer shared a quote with me from one of these awardees. I learned that success is rarely external and that the biggest achievements are often changes in mindset or some other internal factor. I learned that working hard does not guarantee success. I learned that nobody has ever achieved anything by themselves and that an unbelievable amount of uncontrollable factors play into how likely someone is to succeed. Finally, I learned that you must accept the fact that life is anything but fair if you want to keep your sanity. We heard those wise words from one of these awardees a little bit earlier. And while life might not always be fair, the world, I hope, is a little more fair for these 2 students today because they are very deserving and have earned this special recognition. We are honored to present the 2021 Headmasters Award to Emma Colby and Jordan Nashid. Our final 2 awards are the Kenneth D. Jones Memorial Award and the Nancy C. Sawn Final Award. These are given to 2 seniors who have shown outstanding qualities of leadership, loyalty, good citizenship, and who are always gracious in their manner and considerate of others. First, the Kenneth D. Jones Memorial Award. This student arrived in 9th grade And he jumped right into our Sanford community in so many meaningful ways. Most importantly, he's a serious student, conscientious about his studies, and he works very hard to earn high marks. But there's much more to him. He's an integral member of both the soccer and wrestling teams. He's a Poetry Out Loud finalist in multiple years, a talented actor that we've seen on stage for SRTC productions. He's an officer in our Black Student Union. He's very active in our Diversity Alliance. To be noted, he's also just an all-around good guy, one who adds value to any Sanford team, club, or activity. He's certainly added value to our Sanford community and to the class of 2021. It is our honor to present the 2021 Kenneth D. Jones Memorial Award to Jazz Spencer. Our final award is the Nancy C. Sawn Final Award. It is awarded to a student who has been described as a natural leader in this class. Because she focuses so much on helping others, she falls easily into the role of liaison between her peers and teachers. This awardee has been a mainstay and a central cog of the class of 2021 from their earliest days in Sanford's lower school. She is a student class officer. She's, as I said, natural leader who brings along her peers, whatever the activity might be. A 4-year starter in field hockey and a 5-year starter in lacrosse. She was a student ambassador and a go-to for the admission office because she embodies what we hope to develop in our incoming students. Those qualities of being hardworking, ambitious, engaged, connected, and kind. She's the type of well-rounded and successful Sanford student Nancy Sawn would be proud to see as the recipient of this award. It is my pleasure to present the 2021 Nancy C. Sawn Final Award to Katie Zabel. Can we give all of our award winners one more round of applause, please? I have the honor each year to share a few of my thoughts with the graduating seniors. And each year I try to keep my remarks brief. I say that and then I start writing, and we'll see how it goes. Because how do I add to or contribute to what Spencer and Emma, Jordan, and Anna Littlefield have already hit on so many of the key themes of what it means to be here today, to be part of our community. What do I say to the class of 2021 as you head off to your next adventure? As I look at this group of Sanford players and characters that have walked the paths and hallways for so many years, one thing of note, of our 68 graduates, 25 have been here since JK, kindergarten, or first grade, what we call Sanford Lifers. That's 13 years, 12, 13, or 14 years each. So that's roughly 325 cumulative school years that you all have spent at Sanford School. That's also a lot of tuition, so thank you to all you parents. Lifers, we recognized you. Would you please stand if you're a Sanford Lifer? As Ms. Littlefield said, I truly have only known Sanford since you've been here. So it will be different to not have you among us next year. As a class, you know Sanford better than many, better than perhaps most, and how you lived this place. Maybe it was your deep connection to our school community that allowed you to rise to the challenge that the last 16 months have thrown you and in the midst of this pandemic. For our audience, for those of you who are adults, remember back to your junior, senior year of high school. I'm not going to quiz anybody, you don't have to share any stories, but remember what your junior and senior year was like. Those are supposed to be special times for any high schooler. Proms, homecomings, games, productions, concerts, friends, parties, I could go on and on. That was all taken away from these kids 16 months ago. Completely. And yes, we were able to have school this year, altered school, in masks, seated in rows, bring your own lunch. But let's be honest, that was okay. We were proud of it, but it was okay. And it got better over time. But here's the takeaway. Here's what gives me such pride, is that our students, your kids, your grandkids, they didn't complain. They didn't complain, at least not to me. I don't know, maybe they complained to you. Normally they would, I was expecting to hear some student complaints. They did what we asked them to do. Heck, I didn't even really see, maybe senior teachers would feel differently. I didn't even see that much senioritis. And I think it's because they so appreciated being here, being together, and being able to finish. They kept showing up, and they showed gratitude for the time that we could spend together. They worked hard, and they finished. And even with the weather of this week, probably the toughest weather I've seen in graduation week, blazing hot on Wednesday, rains the day we're supposed to have commencement, I still didn't hear complaints. Because they're finishing with flexibility and with grace. And that, I want to thank you all. I really do appreciate it. I read a quote recently that made me think about our graduating seniors. It comes from an author and illustrator who just passed away recently. His name's Eric Carle. You might know that name, but you probably also remember and can picture the book. He wrote The Very Hungry Caterpillar, among a few other titles. And when he was asked by a reporter why he thought The Very Hungry Caterpillar had such lasting popularity, he responded, "Children need hope. You little insignificant caterpillar can grow up into a beautiful butterfly and fly into the world with your talent." I love that quote. But I only have one criticism for Mr. Carl. Because you all may have been caterpillars, but you were never insignificant. You were always significant. I think our friend and colleague Jennifer McKay would have loved that butterfly line. Because yes, you are also now quite ready to fly into the world with your talent. And we can't wait to see where your new wings will take you all. Thank you. I now invite our upper school head, Ms. Smith, to the podium to read the names of our 2021 graduates as Sanford Board President Ted Dwyer and I present your diplomas.
Xander Thomas Bogus. Ian A. Bennersley. Danielle Leticia Burkett. Carissa Bree Bonner. Jesse Flynn Bradley Johnson. Ashley Maria Berger. Siyu Zach Chen. Tobias Zwick Coker. Emma D. Colby. Olivia Cornwell. Nasir Michael Cowan. Mackenzie Bell Cuff. Noah Lutchen Kurland. Melissa Lauren Daniels. Melissa is competing in a crew competition right now and is not with us. Hannah Lauren Davenport. Leah Lynn Doherty. Lily Lynn Doherty. Samara Durgaden. Madeline Doozy. Brandon Theodore Dwyer. Reed David Farmer. Deming Holland Florax. Hayden Oscar Fuller. James Dale Gaylor. Mason Nicholas Giordano. Catherine Alexis Glodenis. Anna Elizabeth Hionis. Noah Benjamin Hollander. Audrey Cleves Holvek. Jada Noel Jackson. Ananya Jane. Amin Nasir Johnson. Matthew Larson Kedash. Muhammad Amara Kana. Jason Charles Lamy. Casey Morgan Leach. Annie Reed Leo. Zhongfungjin Steve Lin, who is in China, hopefully watching right now. Nicholas James Legangelo. Timothy Lucky. Rayshawn Ma, who is also in China. Michael Thomas Marshall. Malcolm James Eckersley McLaurin. Matthew Montante. Marcus Motion. Hunter Tag Murray. Jordan Edmund Nashett. Zachy Spencer Nashett. Nana Njoku. Albert William Ofer IV. Ian Dandridge Ronald. Margaret J. Ross. Carter Joseph Ruby. Emily Constance Sackue. Wyatt Armin Sterling Cedar Burniford. Morgan Elizabeth Silvers. Charles Joseph Slanina. Javon Anthony Spencer Jr. Nicholas Lawrence Thompson. Milo Christopher Watson. Benjamin S. Wilkinson. Aaron Lee Wilmore. Rowan Jessica Wysock. Brogan Denon Yates. Samantha Main Young. Catherine Olivia Sabel. Spencer William Zabranik. Elizabeth McCallie Zimmer. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating the members of Sanford's class of 2021.
So as part of our COVID protocol, we literally had a discussion are we going to let the kids go up and hug Carlene Spencer? Because that's become a thing graduating classes like to do. And Carlene said, well, can I hug my own kid? I said, sure, sure. And then I was supposed to fist bump, and then Xander Bogus came up, and I shook his hand. And then I thought, do I shake everybody else's hand? And so, find some hand sanitizer, I guess. Another long-standing Sanford tradition at commencement is the ringing of the chapel bell. Last month at our memorial service for Krista Bernanke, we rang the chapel bell 30 times in honor of the 30 years that Krista worked at Sanford. Unfortunately, our 80-year-old bell developed a crack that day. So much like the Liberty Bell, it doesn't ring very well. But our performing arts chair, Mr. Molish, and our performing arts team came up with a ready solution. So we will ring the chimes for our class. To honor our newest graduates, we have a member of next year's graduating class. Is that Trenton LaPointe? Trenton LaPointe will now sound the chapel bell with Mr. Molish 68 times, once for each member of the class of 2021. To close our ceremony, I invite you all to stand for the singing of our alma mater. The words for the alma mater you can find on the back of our program. And we've invited our quartet back to the front of the stage to lead us. After the alma mater, we will allow our seniors to process out of the amphitheater. And once that has happened, you can join them and wish them all well and congratulations. Thank you all for being here. Have a great summer, and we'll see you soon.